I have chosen to begin a fresh existence apart from you." Those words floated through the atmosphere of the elegant dining establishment, where we had come together to honor my child's university completion. Gregory, my spouse for 28 years, remained standing with his sparkling wine raised, his declaration replacing the tribute he should have been delivering for Amelia's accomplishments. The sound of utensils stopped. Discussions paused midway through sentences. 50 sets of eyes shifted between Gregory and myself, anticipating my response. The weeping, the yelling, the theatrical departure everyone predicted. Rather than that, I displayed a smile. "I appreciate your truthfulness. My identity is Bianca Caldwell. My age is 54, and leading up to this instant, I had been performing the part of the dedicated spouse and parent flawlessly. I set aside my personal, professional ambitions to assist Gregory through 3 commercial endeavors, to occupational transitions and numerous phases of self-discovery. I brought up our talented child, Amelia, who was positioned next to me presently, her completion cap still balanced on her head, her face locked in shock. From the edge of my vision, I observed Cassandra Wells, Gregory's considerably younger romantic partner, moving uneasily at the rear table, where she was seated with individuals I had regarded as companions for many years. The identical companions who, evidently, were aware of the romantic involvement, yet never considered informing me. The identical Cassandra who had come to our December celebrations, who had previously contacted me for guidance regarding her profession. With rehearsed composure, I extended my hand into my purse and extracted a closed ivory-tinted package. I positioned it softly alongside Gregory's dish. "What is this?" he inquired, his victorious look wavering. "Something for your review at a later time," I answered, maintaining my tone consistent. I directed my attention to Amelia, whose complexion had become ashen. I pressed my lips to her face. "I feel such pride regarding you, darling. This occasion remains focused on your achievement." Subsequently, I adjusted my garment and spoke to our astonished visitors. "Please take pleasure in your food. I hope you all experience a pleasant afternoon." Following that, I departed from the dining establishment, my posture upright, sensing 50 sets of eyes tracking my movement. The substantial entrance swung closed behind me, blocking the start of worried whispers. Beyond the building, the Augusta summer warmth struck me like a barrier, yet I embraced it. For the initial time in many years, I was able to inhale without restriction. Behind my position, I detected the dining establishment entrance, opening and closing forcefully, accompanied by Gregory's tone, no longer self-assured, but elevated and desperate. "Bianca, what in the world is this? What action have you taken?" I continued moving forward, permitting myself a modest smile. The package I had given him held the start of my retaliation, one I had been carefully organizing for several months. I had consistently been the sensible individual in our union. While Gregory envisioned grandly and assumed risks, I preserved the steadiness our household required. I was the individual who accumulated funds for Amelia's schooling. When Gregory made poor investment choices in his companion's dining venture, I was the individual who performed additional hours as a finance supervisor at Truvent Corp. When his middle-age crisis prompted him to abandon his secure role to pursue his enthusiasm, marketing handmade furnishings, an enthusiasm that endured roughly 6 months before he became disinterested. My personal aspirations, establishing a financial advisory service for women, were continuously postponed after Amelia completes her studies, I reassured myself. After Gregory discovered steadiness 3 months previously, I observed inconsistencies in our shared financial holdings. Minor movements to a holding I failed to identify. Having dedicated 20 years overseeing our household finances, these abnormalities appeared like warning signals. I was capable of confronting Gregory right away, yet something restrained me. Maybe it was perception, or maybe it was the increasing separation between us throughout the previous year. Rather than that, I started discreetly examining. What I uncovered was more severe than I envisioned. Gregory had been methodically relocating resources to a distinct holding for beyond a year. He had additionally been escorting Cassandra to costly dining establishments, acquiring adornments, and examining coastal real estate. All while informing me we required to reduce our expenditures for our later years. Subsequently arrived the written communications I uncovered when Gregory abandoned his device unsecured. Communications regarding their fresh existence as a couple, communications regarding how he was ultimately escaping, communications regarding their arrangements for the occasion following Amelia's completion, the occasion he had selected to execute his significant departure from our union. What Gregory had overlooked, or maybe never completely understood, was that I had been a financial expert for 30 years. I comprehended financial pathways. I was aware of how to follow resources, and most significantly, I recalled the premarital contract we had executed 28 years previously, when I possessed more household wealth than he possessed. The contract he had demanded, paradoxically, to safeguard his prospective income, held a faithfulness provision that would demonstrate to be his destruction. While Gregory designed his departure with Cassandra, I was constructing my argument. I spoke with legal representatives. I recorded every concealed movement. I collected proof of their romantic involvement. I organized separation documents. I arranged everything flawlessly. Understanding Gregory would desire to pause until following Amelia's completion to prevent destroying her significant occasion, what he failed to anticipate was that I would deliver the separation documents the sunrise of the completion before his intended declaration. However, with the documents still securely concealed in judicial records not yet reachable to him. What Gregory failed to understand was that I was consistently 3 movements in advance. I failed to go back to the dining establishment. Rather than that, I operated a vehicle to our residence, a roomy, colonial style in Augusta's traditional area that we had acquired 15 years previously. The residence that Gregory had previously committed to Cassandra, based on written communications that he failed to comprehend, I had observed. I positioned my vehicle in the pathway and peacefully entered what had been our mutual location for beyond a 10-year period. All things appeared identical. The household images on the surfaces, the vintage large clock that had been my father's possession, the aged material seating where Gregory and I had previously envisioned our prospects as a couple. Nevertheless, all things had transformed. I proceeded upstairs to the primary sleeping chamber and accessed the storage space. Gregory's garments were previously arranged in travel cases, concealed in the rear section, prepared for his intended departure the following day. I displayed amusement at his predictable nature. He had consistently been careful regarding garments, yet careless regarding the significant matters. My device vibrated continuously with communications from companions at the dining establishment, from Amelia, additionally from Gregory's sibling Diana, who had traveled for the completion. I answered exclusively to my child. I am fine. This is not your responsibility to bear. Take pleasure in your completion occasion. We will converse this evening. I care for you deeply. I had shielded Amelia from the reality for several months, not desiring to overshadow her concluding semester with household conflict. She would experience anger that I had not informed her, yet I understood she would comprehend in time. Amelia had received my sensibility along with her father's appeal, a forceful mixture that had assisted her, complete with distinctions. 3 hours subsequently, I detected Gregory's vehicle in the pathway. The entrance at the front closed with force. "Bianca," he yelled, his tone reverberating through the residence. "Where is your location?" I was positioned in the common room, peacefully examining materials on my portable computer. I closed it as he entered forcefully, his complexion colored with irritation, the package gripped in his grasp. "What is the significance of this?" he insisted, moving the documents. "You delivered me separation documents on this occasion of all occasions," I considered. "I believed it coordinated appropriately with your arrangements," I answered peacefully. "You desired to commence your fresh existence?" "I am merely assisting in enabling the change. You possessed no authority to." "I possessed complete authority." I stopped him, my tone steady. "Exactly as you possessed complete authority to select Cassandra." "We all execute selections, Gregory." "The premarital contract terminated many years previously," he stated, his tone abruptly satisfied. "Any legal representative will inform you of that." I permitted myself a modest smile. In reality, it failed too. Section 12 particularly indicates that the faithfulness provision stays operational for the span of the union. Your legal representative should have clarified that to your understanding. "Oh, pause. You failed to speak with one, did you?" The pigmentation disappeared from his complexion as actuality descended. The premarital contract he had demanded to safeguard his possible prosperity would presently require everything from him. The residence, the leisure real estate in Savannah, his segment of our later years' holdings, his significant action at the dining establishment had merely become the most costly declaration of his existence. "You are incapable of executing this to me," Gregory stated, falling onto the seating. "We constructed this existence as a couple, and you selected to conclude it," I answered, "though not in the manner you organized." Gregory's device vibrated continuously in his storage compartment. He observed it, subsequently disregarded it. Cassandra, without uncertainty, questioning where his location was, and the reason he was not pursuing their thoroughly arranged arrangement. "You have consistently been deliberate, Bianca. However, this is frigid," he stated, attempting a distinct method. "What, regarding our background? 28 years as a couple signifies nothing." I examined him. This individual I had cared for deeply for almost 3 10-year periods. The individual who had grasped my hand through 2 pregnancy losses before we possessed Amelia. The individual who had previously astonished me with a weekend journey to Charleston for our 10th yearly celebration, when had he transformed? Or had he consistently been this individual and I had been excessively dedicated to observe? Our background signified everything to my understanding. I responded genuinely. That is the reason your disloyalty caused such deep pain. His look softened temporarily, maybe observing an appsability. Subsequently, maybe we are capable of repairing this. I executed a blunder. Individuals execute blunders. This was not a blunder, Gregory. This was a deliberate arrangement extending beyond a year. You methodically relocated our financial resources. You examined real estate with her. You organized to declare our division publicly to embarrass me. His complexion solidified once more. You are magnifying, am I? I collected my device, accessed the documentation application, and performed his personal tone. Following the completion, I will inform her it is concluded. A public location is superior. She will not execute a display before everyone. Subsequently, Cassandra's tone, and she possesses no awareness regarding the financial resources. Gregory once more. Nothing. Bianca places complete confidence in me. That is her vulnerability. The circulation disappeared from his complexion. You documented our discussions. That is not lawful. Not in Georgia when one individual approves, I answered, and not when it occurs in your personal residence. I failed to document your confidential instances with Cassandra. I am not without compassion. Merely the discussions regarding your arrangements to deceive me financially. Gregory rose abruptly disturbed. I require to execute some contacts. Certainly, I stated. Your legal representative might be a beneficial start. I will be remaining at Diana's this evening. Diana's residence, he expressed with difficulty. My sibling's residence. I gestured affirmatively. She is considerably disturbed with your actions. In reality, she was the individual who initially observed you and Cassandra as a couple previous December. She failed to inform me right away. She confronted you initially. You committed to her. It was insignificant that you would conclude it. When she comprehended you had not completed this, she approached me. This was another impact he had not predicted. Diana and I had consistently been connected, yet Gregory never envisioned his personal sibling would select my position. Everyone is being disloyal to me, he expressed quietly. Paradoxical, is it not? I assembled my purse in a modest overnight container I had arranged previously. You possess until the following evening to extract your possessions from the residence. Following that time period, the security mechanisms will be transformed. As I proceeded toward the entrance, Gregory contacted following me. Desperation in his tone. What regarding Amelia? Have you considered how this influences her? I stopped, irritation ultimately penetrating through my peaceful appearance. Do not you attempt using our child as protection, Gregory? You definitely were not considering her when you were organizing your fresh coastal existence with Cassandra. His device vibrated once more. This occasion he observed it, and expressed discomfort. Difficulty, I inquired. Cassandra is at the living space previously. She has relocated her possessions. I was incapable of restraining my smile. The living space you positioned in both your identities, the rental contract you executed previous month? Gregory gestured affirmatively, appearing perplexed. You might desire to verify with the rental administration. That submission was identified for financial evaluation difficulties and never finalized. The representative contacted our residence communication device to authenticate details. I managed it personally. I departed through the entrance, abandoning Gregory to confront the initial of numerous outcomes. His flawlessly organized fresh existence was deteriorating more rapidly than he was capable of understanding. Diana resided in an attractive small residence across the municipality, in proximity to the educational institution where she instructed written works. When I came, she received me with a powerful embrace. I merely received information from Amelia, she stated, guiding me inside. Is your condition acceptable? I am superior to what I predicted, I acknowledged. Pursuing her to the food preparation area where a container of fermented grape beverage was previously accessible. I never considered Gregory would execute such a display, Diana stated, transferring liquid into 2 containers. The dining establishment before everyone, he has abandoned his rational thinking. It was intended to embarrass me, I clarified, receiving the container, a public dismissal. Therefore, I was incapable of resisting without appearing emotionally unstable. Diana's complexion became darker. My sibling consistently possessed an inclination for theatrical behavior, yet this is beyond anything I predicted from him. We positioned ourselves in her illuminated chamber, encircled by containers with vegetation and storage for written works. Diana had never united in marriage, selecting her autonomy and scholarly activities. Throughout the years, I had occasionally felt desire for her liberty. "What did you position in that package that caused him such disturbance?" she inquired. I clarified the materials, the separation documentation, the proof of his financial deception, and most significantly, the premarital contract that would abandon him with considerably less than he had organized. The premarital contract, Diana expressed with entertainment. I recall when he demanded it. Father had merely provided him that financial amount for his initial commercial venture, and he was extremely concerned regarding safeguarding it. She expressed amusement with bitterness. The paradox is satisfying. My device produced sound, Amelia. I inhaled deeply before responding. "Mother," she stated right away, her tone stressed. "I am approaching Aunt Diana's residence." "Darling, you possess no obligation to. I am previously traveling." She stopped. "Father is informing everyone you have abandoned rational thinking, that you have been organizing this for several months. He is expressing terrible statements." Certainly he was. Gregory consistently reconstructed descriptions to present himself as the sufferer. "Permit him to communicate," I stated. "The reality will become apparent within a short time period." 20 minutes. Subsequently, Amelia came, still in her completion garment, yet with her facial coloring smeared from weeping. She descended into my embrace like she practiced as a young person following a frightening dream. "The reason you failed to inform me," she inquired, her tone muffled against my upper body region. "I failed to desire to destroy your concluding semester," I clarified. "You performed with such effort for this occasion." She withdrew, removing moisture from her eyes. "Well, Father managed destroying it regardless." We relocated to Diana's common chamber, where Amelia ultimately received the complete narrative. How I had uncovered the romantic involvement, the financial deceptions, and the arrangements Gregory and Cassandra had executed. "I was aware something was incorrect with Father," Amelia acknowledged. "He has been distinct, unfocused, consistently on his device, yet I never envisioned—" "None of us desire to observe these matters in individuals we care for," Diana stated softly. My device vibrated with a written communication from Philip Anderson, my legal representative. The electronic submission had been accepted. The holdings I had specified were immobilized, awaiting the separation legal actions. Gregory presently possessed restricted access to resources, adequate for existence expenditures, yet not adequate to pursue through on the real estate acquisitions he had organized with Cassandra. I displayed the communication to Diana and Amelia. "Beneficial," Amelia stated with determination. "He merits it." My child's allegiance provided warmth, yet I was not innocent. "He remains your father," I reminded her. "Your connection with him is distinct from what is occurring between us." Amelia moved her head negatively. "Maybe at some future time, yet presently I am incapable of observing him. He embraced me this sunrise and informed me regarding his pride, all while organizing to detonate our household hours subsequently." The entrance signal produced sound, stopping our discussion. Diana proceeded to respond, returning instances subsequently with a concerned look. "It is Gregory," she stated, "and he possesses no solitary presence." I prepared myself as Diana guided Gregory and Cassandra into the common chamber. Cassandra appeared uncomfortable, transferring her mass from one lower limb to the other lower limb, her eyes moving around the chamber. She was 37, not precisely a valued spouse, yet still 17 years my junior, with upper body-length yellow hair and the variety of self-assurance that originates from never confronting genuine difficulty. Gregory, in opposition, appeared enraged. His previous desperation had solidified into irritation. "Bianca, you require to cease this irrational behavior," he insisted. "Release the holdings. We are capable of discussing this like sensible, mature individuals." Amelia rose, positioning herself somewhat before me. "Maybe you should have attempted being sensible before declaring to everyone that you were abandoning Mother." Gregory's eyes expanded as if merely observing our child. "Amelia, this fails to include you." "Fails to include me," she repeated with disbelief. "You detonated our household on my completion occasion and it fails to include me." Cassandra contacted Gregory's limb. "Greg, maybe we should depart." He removed her. "Negative. I am not abandoning until Bianca consents to be rational regarding this." Diana crossed her limbs. "My sister through marriage appears to be the exclusive rational individual in this situation. You are the individual who generated this disorder, Gregory." I remained positioned, observing the conflict develop. For years, I had been the individual who created peace, the individual who resolved disagreements and maintained everyone content. That responsibility was draining, and I had ultimately abandoned it. "The holdings will remain immobilized until the initial legal session," I stated peacefully. "That occurs in 3 occasions. The judicial authority will establish suitable resource distribution at that time period." 3 occasions, Gregory expressed with difficulty. "What am I intended to execute for 3 occasions?" You possess your individual holding, I reminded him. The one you have been directing financial resources into for the previous year? That should be adequate. Cassandra's head moved rapidly toward Gregory. You possess a distinct holding with what quantity in it? An interesting pattern was developing. Evidently, Gregory had not been completely honest with Cassandra. Additionally, Gregory disregarded her inquiry. This is vengeful, Bianca. This is not characteristic of you. Maybe you never genuinely understood me, I answered. Exactly as I evidently never genuinely understood you. Amelia directed attention to Cassandra. Did you possess awareness? He was intending to declare it in that manner at my completion honor? Cassandra possessed the propriety to appear ashamed? I considered he was intending to communicate to your mother confidentially. The declaration on this occasion was unexpected. Gregory directed her a disloyal appearance. Divisions were previously developing in their combined position. I consider you both should depart, Diana stated with determination. You have disturbed Amelia adequately for one occasion, Gregory expressed with emotion. You comprehend that connections transform, do you not? Occasionally, individuals develop in separate directions. My child's complexion solidified in a manner I had never observed previously. What I comprehend is that you are an individual lacking courage who was incapable of providing mother the respect of a confidential discussion. What I comprehend is that you were removing from our household while I was performing to occupations to assist with compensation for my educational materials, because you stated financial resources were restricted. Gregory became ashen. That is not the manner it occurred. It is precisely the manner it occurred. Amelia seized him. Please depart, father. I am incapable of observing you presently. The absence of sound that pursued was overwhelming. Ultimately, Gregory directed himself to depart. Cassandra following behind him at the entrance, he stopped and observed in my direction. This is not concluded, Bianca. I will resist you on this. I encountered his observation consistently. You are permitted to attempt. Following their departure, Amelia fell alongside me on the furniture, moisture flowing down her complexion. I have never communicated to father in that manner. I enclosed my limb around her upper body regions. Occasionally, maintaining position for what is correct is causing pain. Diana transported us fresh containers of fermented grape beverage. 2 fresh commencements, she stated, elevating her container. In reality, I considered this conclusion was merely the start of something fresh. The initial legal session occurred in a modest judicial chamber on a precipitation-filled Tuesday sunrise. I came with my legal representative, Philip, while Gregory approached with a legal professional he had rapidly obtained. A youthful associate from an organization that focused on commercial legal matters, not household concerns. Gregory's inadequate selection of legal presentation was yet another outcome of his accelerated organizing. The judicial authority, an older female with penetrating eyes and no tolerance for theatrical behaviors, examined the premarital contract thoroughly. This material appears to be in proper arrangement, she stated, observing over her vision correction devices at Gregory's legal representative. Do you dispute its authenticity? The youthful legal professional cleared his respiratory passage. Your judicial honor, we maintain the conviction the contract has terminated due to the duration of time period that has elapsed. Section 18 explicitly indicates that the span is for the period of the union plus any legal actions. Resulting from its termination, the judicial authority performed vocally. There is no termination occasion specified. Gregory inclined in a forward direction to express with urgency to his legal professional, who appeared increasingly uncomfortable. In addition, the judicial authority proceeded. The proof of methodical resource movements appears to breach the financial revelation obligations in Section 23. She organized through the documents, subsequently observed upward. I am determining to preserve the immobilization on shared holdings awaiting complete financial investigation. Mr. Caldwell's individual holding will remain reachable to him. The household residence will remain in Mrs. Caldwell's control during actions, as indicated in the premarital contract's faithlessness provision. Gregory's complexion colored dark crimson. This is excessive, he expressed, quietly adequate for my detection. The judicial authority secured him with a severe appearance. Mr. Caldwell, I recommend you examine the contract you executed more thoroughly. This judicial establishment will reassemble in 30 occasions for the complete session following investigation is finalized. As we abandoned the judicial chamber, Gregory reached my location in the passage. Bianca, please. We required to communicate regarding this in a sensible manner. 28 years as a couple possesses to signify something. It signified everything, I answered. Until you determined it failed to, I departed, abandoning him maintaining position, solitary in the judicial establishment passage, the mass of his selections ultimately starting to descend. Information distributed rapidly through our social group. Companions contacted on a daily basis, some providing assistance, others pursuing information for discussion. I preserved a respectful absence of communication regarding the specifics, merely stating Gregory and I are dividing. These occurrences occur. In the meantime, Gregory's thoroughly constructed appearance was deteriorating. The representation he had generated, successful commercial individual, dedicated household individual, was damaged beyond restoration. The financial immobilization signified he was incapable of pursuing through on commitments executed to Cassandra. The coastal real estate they had been organizing to acquire descended through the expensive vehicle he had positioned a preliminary payment on required to be terminated. 2 weeks following the session, Diana contacted me, her tone colored with entertainment. Have you received information regarding the most recent occurrence? Cassandra relocated her position. Previously, I was not completely astonished, yet the velocity was remarkable. Evidently, she uncovered that Gregory's commercial venture is not performing as favorably as he asserted. The considerable accumulated funds he communicated regarding failed to possess existence. She informed her companion Jennifer that she failed to commit to associate with an individual possessing financial difficulties. I was incapable of restraining amusement. He consistently was capable at generating false appearances. In the meantime, I was reconstructing the financial protection I had consistently preserved distinct from our shared holdings, provided me liberty Gregory had not predicted. I obtained a modest administrative location in the central municipality and started establishing the advisory service I had envisioned regarding for years. My initial individuals seeking assistance were 2 females experiencing separations of their personal situations. Verbal communication transported additional individuals. I focused on assisting females in comprehending their finances during significant existence changes, separations, loss of spouse, occupational transitions. The occupation was right away satisfying in a manner my organizational occupation never possessed. Amelia, who had received a role with a promotional organization in Charleston, contacted me with regularity. I feel such pride regarding you, Mother, she informed me following I described my increasing individual list. You are assisting individuals during their most severe instances. I am merely executing what I desire someone had executed for me at an earlier time period, I answered. Organizing females for whatever might approach, being required for my specialized knowledge rather than my assistance provider, was a unique and enabling occurrence. The concluding separation session descended on what would have been our 29th yearly celebration. A suitable conclusion to a section of my existence that had endured almost 3 10-year periods. Gregory came appearing exhausted. I subsequently discovered that his commercial venture was experiencing difficulty without my financial assistance and direction. Cassandra was departed, previously associating with a genuine estate creator from Savannah. The majority of our reciprocal companions had established separation from him following discovering the complete narrative of his deception. The judicial authority maintained the premarital contract in its completeness. Gregory abandoned with his individual possessions, his experiencing difficulty commercial venture, and the financial resources in his confidential holding, which following compensating his legal representative was minimally adequate to obtain a modest living space. I maintained our residence, my later years' holdings, and 70% of our shared financial placements precisely as the premarital contract indicated in situations of faithlessness. The fairness was symbolic. The identical material Gregory had demanded to safeguard himself had become his destruction. As we abandoned the judicial chamber, Gregory reached my location one concluding occasion. I executed a terrible blunder, he stated without volume. Is there any possibility we were capable of? Negative. I stopped him softly yet with determination. That entrance is secured. I comprehend, he answered. And for a single occasion I possessed conviction he executed. I possess. Hope you discover contentment, Bianca. You merit it. It was maybe the initial truthful statement he had communicated to me in years. 6 months subsequently, my advisory service, Caldwell Financial Changes, was experiencing success. I had relocated from the modest administrative location to a more extensive location and obtained 2 associates. I focused on assisting females in obtaining their financial prospects, especially through significant existence modifications. Amelia traveled with frequency, experiencing pride regarding what I had constructed. You possess awareness. What is paradoxical, she stated during a single travel. If father had merely been truthful from the start, he might have maintained half of everything. Occasionally, individuals are incapable of observing beyond what they desire in the instance, I answered. The female who had previously specified herself as Gregory's spouse and Amelia's mother had uncovered a fresh identification. Individual providing guidance, commercial proprietor and supporter. The package I had transferred Gregory at the dining establishment had not merely been my departure arrangement. It had been the access device to an entrance I never possessed. Awareness existed. Behind its position, I discovered not merely retaliation, yet reconstruction. In obtaining my financial prospects, I had additionally reclaimed something considerably more precious: my personal identity.